In this video series, we share a relatively rare insight into the practice of private readings in evidential mediumship, which differ fundamentally from the more widely known public demonstrations, of course. All the sitters agreed willingly to the publication of the readings, since they are all part of the spiritual community and understand the benefits of sharing and giving. Hence, it doesn't come as a surprise that a lot of the information in the readings gear around that topic. To understand the depth of the process, you would have to feel into the presence and into the matter of the subject, which is closely related to each and everyone's heart. And of course, you would have to watch the videos from the beginning to the end. Enjoy. Right, just give me a few seconds, please.
Of course.
Right. I feel that there's a man coming close. I feel he's laying his hands on your shoulder. So that shows me that he is very supportive with you. I feel that he was an upright man, well dressed, serious type of guy. Always very busy. Always very busy. He was always on the move, and he got to know a lot of people, and he did very many different things in his life. I feel that this is a grandfather of yours. Would you understand that so far?
I understand all of that. Grandfather, it is not.
It is not a grandfather, but you understand all of that for a certain person.
Yes, I do.
All right. I got a fatherly connection here.
That would be it.
Ah, okay. Right. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so it's your father, not your grandfather.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah. But he's a grandfather, so some of his children must have children.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you tell me you have children.
Yes.
Yes, you have children, right? He's actually very happy about the way you bring up your children, but this is, yeah, well, why not? Let's jump right into it. You would understand that he's telling me that you do educate your children, you bring up your children fairly different than the way he did bring up you. So there must be a huge difference. And he says actually he's very happy about that, right? Because he understands that he was a very strong character, and at times he wasn't sensible enough to regarding the needs of family members. That's what I get. You would understand that.
I do.
But at the same time, he was a family man. He understood his responsibilities, and he lived according to his understanding very well up to them. So he did everything for the family that he thought he should and could do. But nevertheless, he was he was a man, also very much a man on of his own, right? Of his own, right? So he liked to have family, but he also liked to be on his own and to do what he wanted to do or thought he has to do, and without the family involved, and also sometimes without concern of the family. And sometimes I feel he did things in a way that affected the family. It was not his he wasn't deliberately doing that, but it just affected the family in not such a positive way. But he did these things because he wanted to do them. Would you understand that as well?
All of it.
All of it, right?
100%. Yes,
Thank
correct.
you.
Yes.
I feel that he was an intelligent man. He knew very well how to use his mind, so how to use his mind, and he also, I feel that he liked he was involved at least at some time in his business life. He's showing me that there was contracts being signed and several contracts, one contract, another contract. Would you understand that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
In his business, so they were, it was, and he was very, very, um, he was very clever in in dealing with people and in handling the legal aspects of the contract and in handling the needs of the people as well as the needs of the companies involved. I feel that there were several companies involved. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. That is
Good.
correct. Yes.
Thank you. And and this is something that he had. That gave him pleasure actually. That there was some pleasure in this for him, right? It was pleasure
Mhm.
because he had to. It was not always so easy. He had to find out ways. He had to figure out ways, and he had sometimes to deal with complicated situations in the business life. And he managed. He says in most of the times, normally he managed to to solve problems and to pave the way for a mutual understanding between the clients and the companies.
Yes.
Good.
You you are so articulate in the way you're putting this, and it fits 100%.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. I feel also that about, would you understand that he went fishing?
Yes.
I saw him fishing as well. Well, this now comes to another point in life. He liked fishing, and I feel also that there was something. No, of course, a way to completely disconnect from everything, right? He enjoyed that as well, but I feel that at the end of his life, he simply he didn't do that anymore. Something else came up. Would you understand that?
Yes.
He didn't do that anymore, right? And I also feel that he's showing me also with friends. He had friends, and he's showing me with friends talking. And there were also some the classical male friendships were there involved, but I feel that there was also some colleagues involved. So it was friendships and colleagues mixed. That were having meeting privately, having some drinks, laughing, acting, but also talking a little bit of business in between. These kind of things he also enjoyed very much, actually, right? Because I feel that your father actually, what I see, was a very social man, right? He could handle people and he could handle himself. I also know, oh, but he also was, in a way, yeah, not in a way. He also was a romantic man, and he's referring to your mother. He says he loved your mother so much.
Hmm.
He, lo- he loved it, and there was something also that, oh yeah, he expressed that as well. He was not, he could express that. He could show your mother how much he loved her, and and your mother in that way felt very secure with your father. She felt very good.
Yes. Yes. He was the love of
Mhm.
her life.
I
They
feel
were
that
each
he
other.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel also that he knew how to maintain that love and that relationship. I feel that he brought her presents sometimes, or flowers, things like that, right? He brought that
Mhm.
home. No, not actually extreme big things, but very, very big things on the emotional level
Yes.
to maintain the connection between them two. That was not he because he loved her so much, and I'm really getting very emotional at the moment with that. Very emotional. So right. So he was also a man with a big heart, right? With a really big heart.
Hmm.
So and I also understand that he either he watched car races or he simply loved sports cars.
Actually, it took me just a second, but yes, yes. I remember my mom telling me that.
You remember your mom
I
telling you that,
remember my
okay?
mom talking to me about that. Yes.
Because he showed yes, and
Yes.
he was right. So he was a man that had could that like to live to the fullest. Let's put it like that. He did a lot of things. He did everything with passion, but also everything calculated. So he was not he was not lost in the passion, right? He knew how to use the passion in a very constructive way for in his family, in his business, in his friendships, and also in his leisure time, right? Everything that he did with passion, but also with a clear mind, how to do it best and how to make things work perfectly. Right.
Yes.
So that looks like quite a man to me, actually. All right.
Yeah, I wish I had more time with him here. You are describing him to a T, Daniel.
Right.
Absolutely perfect. That's so
Thank you.
touching to me. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. So let's move on. What does he show you? What, okay. Let's see what he has to share with you. Apart from the memories, he right. His goal, he has many goals actually. You know, he was a goal-orientated man and he didn't take things lightly and he doesn't come with only one goal. He knew that he could put a lot of things in one action, right? Again, right? So, and now he comes here. He really he's glad that you came. He's glad that you came. There's since some time he wanted to have a word with you, and he understands that you go to all these mediums, but you need a real word, right? So that's what you need, and that's why he's very happy that you are here. He really wishes to express his gratitude to you. You must have done something for the family that wasn't easy, that wasn't something that people take for granted, and you did it very well, right? That's correct.
Yes.
Is extremely grateful for that, and on top of it, it must not have been easy for you. It must not have been easy for you, and on top of that, you were not. That was a situation where you were not able to see the outcome, but you just did it because you have the character, you have the heart, you have the compassion to do this. You were very helpful in a family situation, regardless of the outcome, regardless of your own well-being. He says he's extremely grateful for that, and that is something that touched his heart over there as well.
Oh,
So he wants you to tell you that he's also was and still is very touched by this your family action,
oh, thank you. Thanks, Dad.
and he comes here to bring you good news, because The first thing is you already know that this situation is over. The situation is over, and you handled it well. And the outcome was um, not necessarily like everyone wanted, but it was what was to be expected. Let's put it like that. Okay. And the good news for you, let me is that for you, you have created an inner ability to go deeper, much deeper than before, into your own heart. And when he talks about heart, he's talking about the flow of the heart. In other words, he's talking about you came much closer to the inner meaning of the purpose of your life, of what you really have to do, apart from all the necessities that life is inflicting on everyone, right? These are just necessities to live. But there's a deeper sense, a deeper connection to deeper destiny in each and every one, and you came closer to that through this selfless action, through this selfless, compassionate supporting of other. I feel that there were several people involved that you were helping with, right? Several people were involved, right? Okay, and and this is very important for you to understand, right? As again, we are talking about something that he very much liked to engage in the multi-layered meanings of a single act, the multi-layered approaches of understanding of what is really happening, right? You were actually thinking that you were helping others, but in reality, that was true. That was true. But you also were acting out the deeper need of you soul to be who you are. And that is something that is not necessarily taken for granted as well, as so many people are far away from that. He wants you to understand that this inner power that you generated through this must be taken to a good use. It's now up to you to fully understand that and to understand what you really want in life and what you really can do in life.
Okay. Okay.
He said back then when you were children, you were always the strongest of all of them, but it didn't appear like that. Can you understand that?
Yes.
And that is part of the way you carry yourself, right? That's part of the way you are carrying yourself. But it's time to go a step beyond that for you in your life. It's time to go a step beyond that and take that inner strength to a new level.
Okay.
He says it's up to you to find out what to do and how to do, even though he has a good idea about that, but he understands that you need the development process of finding and developing this.
Yes.
Otherwise, it makes no sense for him to tell you what you will do or should do. All right?
Right.
But
Right.
he's
I
very
have to figure that out.
yeah. But he is very, very sure that you will find that. He has not the slightest doubt about that. And he thinks that you also don't have too much doubts about that. Right? He says not too much doubts. Maybe you have some, but he says you shouldn't have any doubts, but you should work on that. There's some work involved. There is some finding involved, and He's showing me birds right now. He's showing me birds, and I feel bigger birds. And I feel, do you have in your environment, or do you go sometimes into an environment where you see bigger birds flying or cruising in the air?
Hmm. I do.
You do. So these birds of prey, like whatever, eagles, falcons, or hawks, things like that, you do.
Hmm.
That you do, all right. That has something to do with your with your evolution. Okay, there's some in that environment with the connection to these birds, you will find something that goes beyond your expectation, something that goes beyond your imagination. Right? This is one thing that he can share with you. Right? One step that he can share with you that would be very helpful for you to undertake. That means opening your consciousness up to their consciousness on a spiritual level.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Good. I know. This is not something abstract, it's something extremely concrete. Okay, it's very
Yes.
concrete. Um, he's talking about two children, right? Two children that need to be taken by the hand,
Yes.
right? So you would have two children,
I actually have three.
but two must be taken by the hand. Can you understand that?
Yes.
So that means the third is already, I don't know, either grown up or mature enough. So for these two, you still need you, right? Like that.
Yes.
And he says that will be very much, that is, of course, a very beautiful thing. He says you enjoy your motherhood very well. He says you enjoy your motherhood very well with all the ups and downs, which is natural, right? But you also can understand that this part of motherhood of you also has multi-layered meanings in it that are very well connected to your inner purpose and the bigger purpose in your life that you are actually looking for, right? That you are actually looking for.
Yes.
So there is no reason to wait and there's no reason to rush. That's what he brings to my mind. There's no reason to be impatient, but there's also no reason to be lazy because you opened up something in your life on a deeper inner spiritual level, and it's now the time to hold on to that and make that become um, more blooming in your life, in exactly the life you have, right? He says you cannot foresee what will be the result of that in the next years and decades to come.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Thank you.
Okay, right.
Very meaningful to me.
Oh, yeah, right. So he's very, very happy about the path of your life that you undertook so far. He understood that you had some detours, like most people have. Yeah, you had some detours, but you find your pathway right early on, and um, and he takes some credit for that, I have to say, right? He takes some credit for that because he was so clear and straightforward in his life that it wasn't that this had a natural effect on you as well. So you know what to do when you know where to go to, right? So you know you're right. You're very yes your capability of handling life and things and family and yourself has very much to do with the way your family was was being brought up, even though you do it very, very different, which he approves totally because he understands these limitations, and you are much more open to so much more. Also for your family, right? You bring in into your family so much more inputs. Your father was a very capable man, very versatile. He saw a lot in life, but he was a very conservative man as well, right? Well,
Yeah.
you are, of course, you are much more open to all kind of things in life, and he approved that to the fullest, right? And he wishes you to know that he's always with you, backing you up, and he's extraordinarily proud of everything that you have achieved. And he's telling you straight, he was very straight sometime, right? Bomb in your face. He's telling you straight right now, he's already proud of what you will achieve in the future, right?
Yeah. Thank
Right.
you.
So,
Yeah.
with his total love. What a
Yes.
wonderful man, actually. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to know his name or anything, or how this resonates, or are you good with just yes and no's? Because
Oh, no, no.
you
If you,
actually,
it's up to
wow,
you.
that I have to say, I've been to many mediums. I've seen Thomas John and Phyllis. I've done many online readings. That was probably the most accurate description of my father's personality that I've ever heard from a medium.
Hmm.
Um, my mom says I get all of my traits from him, which
Hmm.
is true. I'm very much like him. But he when I was 12, but he was a workaholic. He was, you mentioned the networking and colleagues and meetings and friendships, and that's what they would do is go to lunch and they would be friends, but it was acquaintances, but networking. And he worked for a company called Prime Computers back in the 80s, and they sold computers to universities and hospitals. So that's where all of the networking and businesses came in and meeting everyone's needs. Um, he did love fishing. Um, the the description of my children, two of them live with me full time, so I'm more hand holding them. Whereas my third is kind of a little easier, so to speak. Um, but my two that live with me, there's a lot of hand holding that's been going on with guiding them into their adult life. Completely accurate. Um, my mom, she's remarried now, but she still talks about my dad probably every day. He was the
Hmm.
love of her life, and um, she was his. Very accurate. He loved his family, big Italian family, um, but he was a multitasker too. Um, you said a single gesture had so many levels of meaning. Um, that's a very, very concise, articulate way to say it. Yeah. I
Hmm.
thank you so much. I feel like I had a nice visit with him today. Thank you.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Really have to say, I really enjoyed that as well because your father, to me, seemed really not only very alive, but very well on a personal level. I liked him very much. To be very simple,
Oh,
right? Yeah, the way he
he was a
presented
very
himself.
likable guy. He was a
Yeah,
very,
yeah,
very funny, great sense of humor, would be silly at times, but yet
yeah.
also very conservative and kind of um, serious when he had to be, you know, but he took his responsibility seriously,
Good.
you know. Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
That's
Eva,
so
thank you.
lovely.
Thank you.
That was
Great.
so lovely. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Okay, you too. I wish you well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.